All right, everyone. Thank you all for joining me today. I am your man, CJ, with a C and a J. Get it right, get it right. Shut your mouth. Anyway, let's get into this video. So this is a very interesting video that I want to talk about. It's about what has been trending in the media over the last couple of days as it relates to the visit of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to Nigeria. And boy, has this visit caused a lot of upset, especially with the royal family, and as well as the British media, who have descended on Nigeria because of this visit. And they've taken out their anger on Nigeria. They've taken out their frustration. They've called Nigeria name. They even had one that called Nigeria and compared Nigeria to Nazi. Hey, hold on, let me show you. This beta male, Christopher Wilson, who is a journalist in Britain, compares Nigeria to Nazi Germany. Here's what he says on a since deleted tweet, because he's a beta male, a coward. So here's what it says. It says, desperate to show his wifey they were still royals in the eyes of the world, the Duke of Windsor took Wallace on a tour of Germany in 1937. They were greeted ecstatically. Nigeria's human rights record is not far short of Nazi Germany's. Okay, so we're going to talk about that because the gall of the British media to call Nigeria's human rights record, right, such things that you compare to Nazi Germany is something we're going to talk about. And then we're going to talk about also all the other name calling by all the other British media, BBC, and a couple of other ones that seem to have a thing for Nigeria just because these two went to Nigeria. Okay, so let's get into this video because I am going to respond to the British media who seem to think that we've forgotten the evil in the world. These are the same people who bought human beings, came and stole our people from our land, ravaged our country, ravaged our continent, and they're still doing it today. And they have the audacity to call us and question our human rights records. These people who murdered Nigerians in the streets, stole and looted our land, corrupted our government, stole our resources, and they're still doing it today, are the ones with the audacity to tell us that we're compared to the Nazi Germany. Okay, so let's get into this video because it's one of those videos that we just need to get into. You know what I'm saying? So Prince Harry and his wife went to Nigeria, and while they were there for 3 days. And during that 3 days, they were well received in Nigeria. Nigerians performed for them. The whole somersault, backflipping, doing the African dance. They did all of that for them. And the thought for me that any Nigerian or African will welcome a royal family and go out of the way to do what they did for these people, that one beats me. The thought of anyone from Africa, forget Nigeria, but anyone from Africa, to welcome any member of the royal family and roll out the red carpet for them after what these people have done to their country and their continent, that one beats me. That one beats me. I will never understand it, right? I will never understand why anyone in Africa, especially Nigeria. Nigeria was the one country that really received the brunt of the British brutality. The British Empire and their wickedness and evil really affected Nigeria most of than any other African country. So the thought of anyone in Nigeria, for the life of me, I will never know, to welcome this man and his wife, who is part of the evil, the massacre that happened in that country, and they've continuously done it, that one beats me. But we're not talking about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle today. We're not talking about those two. What I want to focus on is the corrupt British media, the lying British media, the hypocritical British media, who seem to think that we're forgotten. So I'm going to remind you of your own human rights record. We're going to do that in this video. I'm going to remind the world of the evil that Britain, the royal family, have committed in both Nigeria and the world. I am going to do this in this podcast today because I couldn't wait to have this podcast, because they seem to think that we have forgotten. They seem to think that years have gone by. We haven't forgotten. And so here is a son of Africa who is going to hold you to task today, and the world will hear, and then let the world judge who is indeed compared to the Nazi. Who indeed can we compare to brutality and the atrocity? Who can we label that to? I guarantee you Nigeria is in it. But before we do that, let me show you these video clips of the same shameful British media who seem to take offense to these people going to Nigeria, right? And they seem to attack Nigeria for it because some members of their royal family who they don't like anymore decide to go and grace Nigeria with their presence. Take a listen to these clips and I'll be right back.
What was that tour all about? I mean, what a sham. It's a fake royal tour, and I think the only reason they did it was to rattle the cage of King Charles and William. And I'm so sorry, she described this tour as so meaningful and to really focus on the real things that matter to us. I mean, they were entertained for 3 days. They had dancing, polo, all the works. No mention at all of the horrific human rights issues that go on in Nigeria. You know, the child brides, the poverty. It's 43% of that country is below poverty. And there she is in all her different dramatic outfits, costing thousands and thousands of pounds, totally not reading the room.
Oblivious.
And oblivious.
And I'll tell you this, you'll know this, Michael, you've been on enough royal tours. There's no way our royal family would set foot in Nigeria, a country where female mutilation, genital mutilation is rife, where women's rights basically don't exist, where hundreds of kids are regularly kidnapped by extremist Islamic groups. This is not a country that should be endorsed by anyone, certainly not our royal family. And these two neophytes, they're naive in what they're doing. They're making this country look good when it doesn't deserve it.
Okay, so let's talk about this. First of all, let me address the female journalist from that media. Now, she talked about that there are so many human rights records that the country is 43% in poverty. Whose fault is that? The poverty in Nigeria today has been a result of the British government. The British government and the royal family have contributed to Nigeria's poverty. They won't leave that country alone. They won't leave that continent alone. They came in and have come in to steal our resources. BP oil has been in Nigeria stealing our oil. All theft, oil spillage has been as a result of BP in Nigeria. Shell in Nigeria. They've caused environmental disaster and environmental nuisance in that country. They've stolen our artifacts. There's a lot of artifacts from Nigeria, from the Benin and Oyo Empire, from years when they came in and looted our country, that is in their museum today. That are making money from those artifacts. They never bought it. They never took it, with permission. They stole it from us. They went to our land years ago, back in the 1800s, stole our people and took them into slavery into their country. Forced our people into chattel slavery. Put a gun in the heads of our chiefs, our kings and our princes, and snatch our men and women in the middle of the night to their own country. Forced labor into their own country. Talk about human rights abuses. They came into our land with their machine guns and killed or massacred millions of Nigerians in the streets. Massacred us like we were animals, like we were nothing. She has the audacity to come talk to us and tell us about our human rights record. Let me address the other man, the other clip you saw. was talking about mutilation, female mutilation. Now, these people want to now act like they are all for women. These are the same people, the British Empire and the British royal family, that massacred about women who were protesting unjust taxes in 1929 in Nigeria. The About Women riot in Nigeria in 1929. These women were massacred by the royal family in Nigeria with machine guns in the streets. These were women. These were women, market women, Nigerian women, who dared to protest that the British Empire, the British royal family, were levying undue taxes on them and exploiting them. And these women protested peacefully. They massacred them on the streets with machine guns.
That on the 13th of December, 1929, Dr. William Hunter was driving from Owerinta towards Aba, and he was confronted by 300 protesting women. And the women refused to disperse to let the car through. What Hunter and his passenger did, they drove through the crowd, knocking down 2 women and killing 1. By 15th December, the confrontation had started. The women marched to the chief and demanded that he sign a letter promising that the women would not be taxed. Their demands were clear. The government will not tax women. No personal property, such as boxes, are to be counted. Women are not to be charged rent for the use of the common market shed. They did not want Chief Mark Pepple to be the head chief of Opobotan. This proved too much for District Officer Whitman. He would later claim that he heard the fence give way under the pressure from the crowd. He was certain the rush of protesters would attack him and others on the government side. At that point, Lieutenant Hill asked, "Should I fire?" Whitman nodded and shouted back, "Yes."
You have the audacity to come and talk to us about human rights record. This empire, this British government, and this British royal family are a murderer on the earth. And that's just Nigeria. We don't want to talk about what they've done in other countries. That's just Nigeria. And they've continued to do it. They came into our country in the mid-1800s, took the land, took Lagos from us, massacred Kano, went to Sokoto, went to Benin Empire, and destroyed all our artifacts, stole our artifacts, destroyed our land, polluted our land. This British government and this British media and this British royal family were the ones that did that in Nigeria. That is the human rights record. Tell me what Nigeria's human rights record compares to that. I guarantee you will not find anything that Nigeria has done that remotely comes to that. Nigerian women, children are plagued with malaria and diseases because the British government goes to Nigeria and practices ill health procedures on them. These same people have the audacity to want to talk to us about human rights record and compare us to Nazi Germany. Did Nigeria put and kill Jews and put them in camps and burn them alive? Is that who you're comparing us to? Did Nigeria do such a thing to whether they were Jews or any of its people? No. Well, let me tell you who did such thing. British government came to Nigeria and stole Africans, mutilated Africans, decapitated Africans, and snatched them from their land to a foreign country and had them as slaves for years and centuries. The British government came to Nigeria and colonized a whole country, colonize us, give us a new name, give us a new identity, give us a new culture, and told us that we're no longer who we thought we were or who we used to be. We're now under the governance of the majesty. Can you imagine? That queen that died, that evil Queen Elizabeth, the one that died, that was part of all the thievery that occurred in Nigeria, killed our chiefs, killed our Obas and our Ezes who dared to oppose her, whipped them into submission, took their land by force. There was no such election. There was no such rights given to you. They took it and killed our people. And then they have the audacity to want to tell us about human rights record. Can you imagine the audacity? Can you imagine? This is why I can't stand some white people. This is why I can't stand them. Because when they cause sins in the world, when they cause evil in the world, then they point fingers to everybody else and say, hey, look at what you're doing. When they are the biggest perpetuator of evil, killing, murder all over the whole world. This is why I can't stand some of them that think that way. They're the most racist people, the British government and the British Empire and the British media, the most racist on the planet. Let's not even go into the fact that this country, the United States, had the reason why there was a war against England was the same reason they massacred the Nigerian women in Aba, undue taxes on the colonies. The same reason they massacred those women on the streets in 1929. No one has held them accountable for this. No one. And I think it's important that we shame them every day for this. Our treasury, our culture is in their museum. They have it in their museum, making money off of us. Stuff they stole from our land over there. And they want to talk to us about sins and immorality. You have the audacity. You should shut the hell up. You should shut the hell up. Again, I said it in the beginning of this video, that the idea that anyone in Nigeria will welcome any member of the royal family, that one beats me. It's the same way his brother. Remember Prince William? Remember that one too. The same way he went and he had African people lift him up. He was talking about there's the British people are not racist. Yeah, sure. With what I've just told you, that's love. The stuff they've done in the world, that's love. He went in and talked about, no, we're not racist in 2012. And he had black people carrying him up on a throne, sitting on a throne. This is what non-racist people do, I guess. This is what it means to not to be racist, where you can sit on the throne and look like a king on the shoulders of African males. See, I could not have been there when that happened. I would have flogged all those Africans. I would have whooped them all so that way they can drop his ass. They can fall on the ground and feel what it's like to be on the floor and gravel on the ground. I would have done that. And then ask him, is this racist? Is this racist that these Africans dropped you? See, this is the stuff that we've had to deal with, from these British people over the years, where they will cause such confusion and chaos in the world. They are still in Nigeria today, robbing us. They're still in Nigeria today, robbing us. They've kept Nigeria poor. Lord Lugard, who was the devil who amalgamated Nigeria's north and the southern region in 1914. This animal, Lugard, whose side chick was the one that named Nigeria, this animal said that Nigeria must not be industrialized. This animal, back in 1903 and 1910, right before he amalgamated and caused the confusion that is today going on in Nigeria, the North and the South, in 1914. He said Nigeria must not be allowed to industrialize. In other words, Nigeria must not be allowed to be successful. Nigeria must not be allowed to have its stuff together. Nigeria must not be allowed to reign, because if Nigeria did and this country is left alone, this country will rule the entire world. This guy made sure that Nigeria must not be industrialized. That's why he amalgamated the North and the South, to cause the confusion that's going on today. This guy, Lord Lugar, did that in 1914. And I can't, for the life of me, I can't. Why Nigeria still has an erection of a statue, both him and his wife, erected in Abuja. I can't for the life of me understand that. I can't. A racist animal who wanted to destroy that country, who came in with Maxim machine guns and destroyed and killed everyone in Nigeria, in Kano, in Benin. This guy, I can't believe that we still have his statue over there. I can't believe it. That needs to come down. Nigerians, you need to pull that statue down. Why give such homage to such a racist animal? Why give such homage to such an animal like that? And that thinking is the same thinking, because he went back and told the queen, the one that died a couple of years ago, or was it last year? I can't remember. Who cares? Told her, and they kept Nigeria poor and have kept Nigeria poor to today. The reason why Nigeria is not allowed to grow is based on what that animal said in 1910, right before he amalgamated it, and they've kept that on. And they've gone there and stolen our land. They've destroyed our people. They've killed our people. And today they have the audacity to talk to us and tell us that we have an awful human rights record. We're abusing our own people. After the atrocities they've done, and compare us to Nazi Germany. These are the murderers who have done worse than Nazis. These people have done worse on the earth than the Nazis. And you want to compare us to that because some rebel in your court visited our country, because some prince and his wife visited Nigeria. So Nigeria now has to endure this sin and all this abuse and insults from a people who are the worst sets of people that ever graced this planet. The British Empire is one that I have no love for the British and their whole royal family. I have no love for them. Don't really care for them. I avoid anything that has to do with any news about them. I don't really care for them because I understand and I know my history. I know what they've done in the world and what they've continuously done to Nigerians and our people as black people all over the world. Forget just Nigerians. Black people all over the world. These people that bought us as slaves, sold us into slavery, snatched us, kept us poor, robbed our land, looted our people, destroyed our men, destroyed our women, our children killed in the streets. These ones, and they've still continuously done it. And then on top of it, the audacity that today's media will now tell us and accuse us of human rights violation. You must have lost your goddamn mind. But anyway, I don't all blame you anyway. I blame the Nigerians who went there and were performing for these people. Those are the ones I blame because they don't know their history. Those Nigerians are the ones I blame because they don't know that the reason why they are in perpetual poverty is because of that royal man and royal woman that came to England who are part of a larger evil machine who have kept them poor. They don't know their history. See, they said, the book said that my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. See, when you don't know your history, you get destroyed. You get played by the enemy. You get played and toiled with by the enemy. You entertain the devil. When you don't know your history, right, your enemy will come in and it will keep stealing from you over and over again. The British government, if I were them and the royal family, I will be making up for all the sins over the last 400 years. If I were them, rather than talk out of their face, I'll be making up and giving back and filling everyone's pockets and every economy with wealth and money stolen from them and making amends for the evil they did on the world. If I were them, I would shut the hell up. Yeah, this son of Africa is holding your feet to the fire and is calling you out. Very despicable things. They're so despicable that they had it in for Nigeria years ago, right before they even came into the Berlin Conference, right after the Berlin Conference in 1884, 1885. Before they came in and went and started carving Africa up like a pie and colonizing Nigeria, they were there. They were there prior to that. These people came in years prior, during the time of King Kosoko and Akintoye. They came in to destabilize Nigeria. That's how they knew that Nigeria was a prime place in 1884. When Akintoye went to them, after he lost his throne to his nephew, went to them and said, hey, my nephew exiled me and I need to get my throne back. King Akintoye went to the British, and the British saw that as an opportunity because they saw Lagos as a viable port that they can use to steal minerals out of. Went and helped him to dethrone his nephew and came to Lagos and took the whole place. That's how they took it when they did the Berlin Conference. That's how they knew that it was ripe, because they already went in there and infiltrated that place and massacred our own people. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. And I hope that Africans will stop and Nigerians will stop rolling out the red carpet for these people. Who are they? The only thing I know about the British government, the only thing I know about the British Empire, the only thing I know about these people is the atrocity and the evil and the murder they've committed on the earth and in Nigeria. That's all I know about them. I don't know any good charity they've done. And they've continuously done it in Nigeria. That's all I know about this. At least with the United States, I can say that the United States, I can give you some records with the United States who go out and they do some good things in the world. At least I can list some few things, even though they've done some evil, but I can list some few things that the United States has done to try to make up for the sins of the world. I can't give you one from the British Empire and the royal family. I can't give you one. They're the epitome of evil. And so if I were them, I would shut the hell up. And lastly, before I close, I really pray and hope that we as Africans get to a place where we don't forget our history. We don't forget those who have kept us poor and have continuously kept their foot on our necks, because they smile in your face and they tell you we're in a new era, in a new modern world that we should forget. And while we are forgetting and forgiving, they're labeling us as the worst thing on the planet. They're constantly coming after us. They go to bed every day thinking about how they can destroy us. These people, while you're walking around doing acrobats and performing and rolling out the red carpet for them, they're thinking about how they can keep you subjugated every day. So I hope we will get to a place where we don't just let our guards down because someone says, hey, it's a dawn of a new day, forget what happened. And they've not made amends. They've not made restitution. They've not paid reparations to us for all the damages they've done to our land and continuously done to our land. And because they smile and tell you it's the dawn of a new day, we're supposed to just let it all go and live and forgive all sins. I hope we get to a place where we begin to hold people to task, because they hold us to task. They hold us to task. And I hope Africans begin to step up and begin to hold them to task, because I know, for one, I'm using my platform to call them out. I haven't forgotten. And I will never forget. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Please like the video, share the content, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all next
Nu
time.
vill jag kunna ge tillbaka allt jag inte kunna ge förut. Det finns ingen annan där som kan stå här by my side, oh why. Sättet du rör på det får mig att dö för dig baby. För de här yardis, de vill ju bara dra ner oss. Men du är fett och vanlig. Och det jag lägger av min tid, jag vill ha dig. Du får mig känna safety. Jag kan nog leda baby. Och jag kommer aldrig